Hey guys, what's up? It's Johnny here, and welcome to another episode of the SIC Show. And as always, I'm super pumped to be here, and I'm here with my man B. How are you,
I'm feeling
buddy?
It. Look at our studio.
Man, this is epic. This is like the best green screen ever, man. I love this location.
And I've even got that big bright light.
Yeah,
up
man,
there.
that's a big natural thing in the sky.
So, buddy, what's on the SIC Show?
So this week on the show, we interview awesome photographer Josh Cripps and find out about Josh and a barbershop band.
Yeah, and Josh is going to inspire us with an amazing image from Milford Sound, feeling it in the sound, and he's got an epic little Photoshop tutorial on how to make your images pop.
Cool, man.
Enjoy.
Let's get into it.
The SIC Show. Share, inspire, create.com. Share.
Josh, share something with us and to our audience that it's entertaining that not many people would know about you.
Okay, so I think something that a lot of people would find unusual about me is that I used to sing in a barbershop chorus. And so I assume you guys are going to be displaying this picture up on the show while we talk about this. But you can see me there in this beautiful striped red vest. And when I used to have hair, which was pretty awesome, I have to admit. But yeah, so I used to sing in a barbershop chorus, and that is me singing. Do you guys know Monty Python?
Yes, I know Monty Python. Are you on the left or right?
I'm on our right, or our left, stage right.
Stage right. So our left. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. The guy on the left of the photo. So
okay. Perfect.
Yeah, that's that we were singing the Galaxy song from The Meaning of Life by Monty Python. That's a big finale number there. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's interesting. I love those stripes and the little red bow tie. I mean,
oh yeah. You had to tie it up real tight. Actually, I think it was like a clip-on or a Velcro. It was really easy to tie.
Okay, awesome. So how did you get into that? What drove you to sing?
Oh, yeah. So I don't know. I always just enjoyed music. I played the drums for like 12 years or something growing up, and I really enjoyed singing. So when I got my first full-time job after college, I was in this very stable spot, and I could start to branch out and explore some of my hobbies. And one of them, heck, I want to go and join a barbershop chorus and see what that's all about. And they said, when I first showed up, they're like, well, what part do you sing? And I said, well, beats the heck out of me. They said, well, we need more guys who sing the melody. So go sing the melody. And so they had me do that. And I was never actually very good at it because my singing range is more comfortably in the bass region. Okay. Yeah. So I could like sing like, and they're like, you had to go so high to be a lead singer, and I could never do it, but I still had fun with it for about 18 months or something, and then I moved, so I got out of it, and that was that. But I did get my glory days of the red stripes and the bow tie.
Yeah. Oh, sexy, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Josh, for that.
You should have seen how many chicks I got after that concert.
Yeah, lots.
Yeah, you have no idea. Actually, you probably have a very good idea.
A lot of groupies following you around, eh? Yeah.
The barbershop groupies, not exactly.
And I like the hair, man. It looks like your hair's gone a little south there.
Yeah,
nowadays.
It stopped growing out of my head and it just started growing inside. And
it's on your chin now.
Like it's gravity. Getting old. It just migrates down.
Yeah, it's happened to me too. Don't worry. Yep.
Yeah, it looks like we share the same barber.
Yeah. Here we go.
Inspire.
Inspire us with one of your amazing landscape images, and I'll pull that up now on my screen over here. Cool. And tell us a little story about it. So I believe the first one we're going to show is from New Zealand, right? The Milford Sound. And I'll actually just share my screen.
So both of the photos that you're going to show to the audience here are from Milford Sound. They're actually from the same spot. But the one that's got all the, let's see. This one, I can see what you're seeing. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, so this is Milford Sound. In case you guys haven't seen it, you should definitely go there because it's sort of ridiculously beautiful and amazing. And when I first got into landscape photography, I was really inspired by Galen Rowell. He's definitely, to this date, my number one inspiration. And what I loved about his photography was he had this ability with a photo to make you feel like you're standing in the scene with him on that spot, watching this event unfold. And I love that. I love the sense of, wow, I can create this connection between the viewer and my photo so they feel like they're standing in the photo. That's awesome. And once I found out how to do that, wide angle lens, getting close to your foreground, I was addicted, man. That's all I shot. It's like that lens. You could have put super glue between my lens and my camera, and I would have been happy with that. Always have a wide angle lens on. Like 99% of the time I'm shooting with a wide angle. But the problem was that it got to a point where it almost became this constraining box for me. And so as a landscape photographer, as a nature photographer, I had built this definition of myself without really realizing it, that it was like, okay, has to be a wide angle, has to be shot at sunrise or sunset, has to be XYZ kind of light, you know? And if the scene I was photographing didn't fit within those criteria, I'd just go, oh, this sucks. You know, I'm going to pack up my stuff and go home and watch Breaking Bad. So I realized like the more and more that I've been doing photography over the last few years, I've been moving from that goal-oriented approach of I want to come home with a picture to more of what I think photography really should be, which is an extension of your experience of the natural world, right? And so as I've gotten into that mindset more of like, I just want to be in this beautiful place and experience what it has to show me, I found those barriers becoming more and more fluid and flexible. And so instead of approaching a scene saying, okay, this is my style of photograph, saying, well, what is my style? It doesn't have to be wide angle, sunrise, sunset. It just is whatever speaks to me, whatever the scene is saying to me. I want to try to capture that because that's what I'm feeling. And so the two pictures you've got here, the one is of Milford Sound at sort of my typical, okay, here's a wide angle shot of Milford Sound, but you can see the light is boring. It's super boring. And so, I mean, there's some drama in the clouds, but come on, it's nothing. It's not going to win any, awards. It doesn't make me feel a whole lot other than just the beauty of standing there. But I noticed, so that was taken at sunrise. And then as we're standing there, I noticed this little pocket of light opening up above Mount Pembroke, which you can see way, way, way in the distance in the lower right-hand corner of that wide angle shot. And the light started breaking up at sunrise. And so right there, exactly where that mouse is, right there, where that glacier is, started breaking up. And this beautiful pink light starts shining in just over that one spot. And me from a few years ago would have been like, oh, that's cool, but I really wish that light would extend to the entire sky so that I can fit it into my wide angle. But now I just feel like, you know what? Being in that one spot is enough because that one spot is amazing. And so instead of being stuck in this box, I zoomed in with my telephoto lens, which I rarely do. I almost never shoot telephoto landscapes. But in this particular case, just having that flexibility, I zoomed in on this one spot where the scene was, to me, just breathtaking, and the light was beautiful, and that you could see the snow kind of, vaporizing off of the water vapor vaporizing off of the snow where the sun was hitting it and lighting up with this beautiful display of light. And so I zoomed in really tight and just got this frame, and it ended up being one of my favorite shots of the entire 2-month trip that I was there in New Zealand photographing. And I know that it's entirely due to the fact that I've stopped myself from rigidly complying with those like checklist approach to photography of has to be a wide angle. I have to have a grad filter on. I have to have a leading line. I have to have a foreground object. It's like, no, that's what I see. That one little spot. That's what's speaking to me. And now I have this wonderful memory of this experience from that tiny little section there.
Awesome, Josh. And I agree with you, man. I think it's maybe a progression that us photographers go through. Initially you're out there and you have to create something. It's you got a goal and you got to get this, at least some kind of image from the scene. And then as we maybe mature or we progress or whatever or regress, whatever you want to call it, you kind of you let the landscape talk to you. You shoot with feeling instead. And Johnny recently said this, like sometimes he'll go down, and I'm the same way. We'll go down somewhere to photograph and we just don't feel it. And then you just don't photograph, or you get to a place and it actually talks to you, the landscape talks to you, and you feel it. So you go out and photograph. And I love that, man. Thank you so much for inspiring us with that amazing image and telling us the story behind it, the progression that you've gone through. I mean, do you think other photographers go through the same thing, where they initially are goal orientated and they've got to achieve these certain things, and then after a while they start shooting because they enjoy it, just for the enjoyment, or the nature or the landscape talks to you, or if you're photographing a portrait, the person that you're photographing actually inspires you to keep going? What do you think, Josh?
I hope so, because I think that if you're photographing for that goal-oriented purpose, I think ultimately it's a little bit of a hollow experience, because like I think a lot of people would define happiness in a lot of different ways, but I have a very simple view of it, and at least one part of it. And for me, I would say happiness is not wanting to be anywhere else, which means you're in a place, you're in a spot, you're in that moment, you're enjoying it. You're not thinking about, oh, I can't wait till tonight, or I can't wait till tomorrow, or I'm bored, or whatever. Like, I'm here now, and this is fulfilling my spirit. I'm happy. Happiness is not wanting to be anywhere else. And I think if you're photographing with a mindset of, oh, I have to produce an image. What's this image going to look like when I get back and process it and then put it up? Is it going to get a good result on 500px? Am I going to hit the front page? Rather than, what is the experience right now that I'm in? I think you miss out on a lot of that. I think you miss out on that satisfaction and that fulfillment of your spirit, of just letting, like you said, letting the landscape speak to you and letting yourself feel it. And I think the more you open yourself up that way, the more you feel it, like in conditions you otherwise wouldn't normally shoot. You go, yeah, okay, this is kind of blah over here, but whoa, look at the way that flax is reflected in the water right there. Like, I would never notice that otherwise, except I'm not, confining myself in this little box. Yeah. So I hope everybody goes through that progression, because it's very satisfying to get to that point where you're just like, wow, just to be here in this minute is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, totally, man. And I think you can actually, transfer that into life. Like I have, in the last couple of years, really started to live now, in the now, and not live for the future. I used to work really hard and stress myself out in my photography business, because one day I'll have this money and this time and this freedom to actually enjoy it. And then I actually realized that one day it's never going to happen. It's actually now. You got to enjoy the journey, because that's all you got. You only got the now. There's no future and there's no past, really. It's past as a memory, and the future hasn't happened yet. So you only got now. And it's I've been reading a lot of books on that recently, the Deepak Chopra stuff and all that. So it's really interesting to talk about that.
No, I agree with you 100%. Like we've got a group on Facebook for sharing photography knowledge with other photographers. Yeah. And at the end of the year last year, we talked about, what were your successes for the year and what were your failures and things like that. And I remember everyone was talking about, I had this, these great sales, and I had this great campaigns that I shot and all this. And that's great. That's awesome. I love hearing about successful things that people are doing. But for me, I realized, like, what does success really come down to in terms of, am I achieving like a better, penetration of my ad campaign, or am I getting a better, am I making more revenue? Like, what does that really mean, unless it's being translated into, like you said, a lifestyle success where you are in this minute and you can say, why? Like, what a beautiful, because I live right outside Yosemite, right? One of the best places for not only photography, but climbing, hiking, all that sort of stuff. Like, what does all it mean? All of this great, if I can sell 1,000 copies of a print, if then tomorrow I just turn around and go, well, how can I sell 1,001? Or if I say, well, wait a second, let me take a day off. Let me go enjoy this beautiful area where I live. It's wonderful. Like, that's the point. For me, that's the point. You can measure success in as much as it gives you the lifestyle success that you're seeking, which I agree. You can't run yourself into the ground like that. You've got to,
no, totally.
You got to enjoy it.
And also, I think you can measure it by who you're helping, and are you actually helping other people achieve their goals? So, for instance, Johnny, now in the Share, Inspire, Create Lounge, our community, for me, the success there is how many people can I actually help become better photographers. So, and I know you with your workshops too. Maybe that's a key performance indicator, Josh, is how many people can you actually help in this workshop, and can you actually enjoy, helping people? That's maybe something too that you can think about. So that's awesome, Josh. Well, thank you very much for inspiring us with that awesome image and the nice talk that we've just had. So I believe you've got something for our audience. It's one of your videos on the Create part where you actually teach us something. So tell us a little bit about this video, and then we'll stick it into this interview.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about, the video is going to talk about a little bit of Photoshop. So it's going to get a little bit technical, but the whole idea is that sometimes when you're processing an image, you might say, I wish that the clouds were a little more red, or the snow in this scene was a little more blue, or something like that. And, what's the best, easiest way to create that color separation between the two? And it turns out there's a beautiful, very simple, very easy way to do this in Photoshop. It's amazingly powerful, but targeted, precise, and importantly, this is the key thing. This is an easy technique. So if you're at least passably familiar with Photoshop, this is something that you can easily bring into your repertoire. And ever since I started developing it over the past few months, now I use it in all my images because it's just super cool. And I don't want to spoil the surprise. We can get into the video and showcase it that way.
All right, we'll get into that now.
Create.
Good morning, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, dogs and cats. Welcome to Professional Photography Tips. My name is Josh Cripps, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Joshua Cripps Photography. Today, I want to show you guys a really cool way you can increase color separation in your images in areas where you want to accentuate or highlight or differentiate certain colors. So let's dive right in. This is a photo that I took on a snow camping trip in Yosemite back in May of 2014. And this photo has gone already through a fair bit of raw processing, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. But this is the result of the photo after the raw processing is done. And you can see here in the foreground, these pillows of snow have some slightly lighter areas and some slightly darker areas. And what I'd like to do is you can barely make out the fact that these lighter areas are reflecting more of this sort of purpley warm light, and the shadowy areas are reflecting more of the blue light of the early morning and the sky. So if there's a cool way, an easy way that I can accentuate that difference, then I think it'll really help make those parts of the snow stand out. So it's actually super simple to do. And let me just delete this. I don't want to delete it. Who knows when you might need something later. We'll just make it invisible. All right. So first thing we need to do, we're going to be doing this whole technique just using a couple of curves adjustment layers. You'll see how amazingly easy this is. So first things first, grab a curves adjustment layer. Pop it up. Now grab the little hand tool here, which is the targeted adjustment tool. First thing we want to do is increase the tonal separation, the lights and darks between those brighter areas and the darker areas. So with the hand separated, you simply click and drag up on the areas you want to make brighter, such as this pillow top here. Up. And then you click and drag down on the areas that you want to make darker, such as the shadowy areas. Something like this. Okay, cool. Now you can see the tops of these pillows are already starting to stand out a little bit more from the shadows here in the background. Now, even though they're brighter and the shadows are darker, there isn't any color information being separated out here. So how do we do that? Very easy. Just add another curves adjustment layer. Now, instead of being in the RGB channel, we're going to think about the colors in our images and work in those channels. So for example, I said that the pillow tops here are reflecting a little more of the warmish reddish light from this crazy lenticular cloud. So instead of working in RGB, I'm actually going to select my red channel and do the exact same thing. Grab my hand tool, click and drag the area where I want more reds to appear. Right here, the pillow tops, and bring those up. And then I'm going to click and drag again in the area where I want to diminish the amount of visible red. just like that. Now, I also maybe want to bring out a little less blue in this area. So I'm going to go to my blue channel, click and drag down on the pillow tops to reduce the amount of blue in them, and then click and drag up in the shadows to accentuate the blue there. Very, very cool. Very, very easy. You know what? Maybe I want to see a little more red in that pillow top. So I'm just going to drag that up a little bit more, something like that. Okay, nice. Now that's super easy. You'll see that it had some unintended side effects. One, it increased the contrast throughout the image to sort of a chunky amount that I don't like. And two, it really made the sky go kind of thermonuclear. So now I'm going to show you another really easy technique you can use to target these curves adjustments to just the area that you want. You can see that the snow is quite bright, and the areas that it put too much contrast in, namely the trees and the mountains, are quite dark. And Photoshop has a really cool built-in way you can use that light and dark information to create a selection for a mask. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on my curves adjustment. This is my bright curves adjustment, and this one I'm going to rename to my color curves adjustment. So click on the layer mask for my bright curves adjustment, then go up here to image, apply image. What that does is it makes a black and white copy of the image and saves it as a mask. That's the mask for our bright curves adjustment. And if I turn that on and off, you can see how now all of a sudden it's only affecting the snow and the sky. It's not affecting the mountain or the trees at all, and that's because I told it not to through that apply image. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing for my color curves adjustment here. Instead of going image, apply image, I'm just going to hold Alt or Option, click on my thumbnail mask and drag it up, and it'll ask me if I want to replace the layer mask. You just click yes. So now both my color and my brightness curves are only affecting the bright parts of the image, namely the snow and the sky. So if I don't want them to affect the sky, what can I do? Real simple. I'm just going to select them both, hit Control or Command G to group them into a layer, add a layer mask on that, and then I'm actually just going to take a black brush at a low opacity and just kind of mask out the sky a little bit like that. So now my adjustment is only affecting the snow. And well, you can be a little more careful with your curves adjustment in the sky, but check that out. How cool is that? How much we really brought out the color separation and tonal values in the snow. Look in this area right here where these ridges are just getting caught by the sun. They go from standing out almost not at all to really just popping out. And you can see it throughout the image. These areas here, how much you bring out that color separation and make those areas pop out. So that's it. That's the technique. Super simple. You can use that anywhere you like. You could even do it up here in the sky. Make another couple of curves adjustments. Bring out the blue, maybe in the shadows and the reds and the highlights to make that cloud, bring out the texture and color a little bit more, make it a little bit pop. So as I mentioned earlier, this photo had already done some raw processing on it. I want to show you what the original photo looked like. Okay, this is the photo straight out of camera as I took it that morning. And then this is the final photo that I edited completely using those curves adjustments, using some vignette, a little bit of exposure blending, some texture adjustments and contrast adjustments throughout it. So that's straight out of the camera. That's the final image. If you want to see how I did that, how I took it from start to finish, including all the raw processing, those curves adjustments you just saw, exposure blending, all kinds of other neat techniques like dodging and burning, I have a full walkthrough on my website. You can just click right here on this icon. That'll take you right to the walkthrough, and you can see exactly how I took that photo from start to finish. And if you like this video, I would be honored if you subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, or you can also sign up for my newsletter to get lots more great Photoshop and photography tips just like this, as well as exclusive content like assignments that you can follow to improve your own photography and have a good time. All right, thanks everybody for watching. I'll catch you next time. Until then, have fun and happy shooting.
Man, that was a great interview you had with Josh. I really enjoyed it, buddy. And to find out he was in a barbershop band or a quartet, that is amazing. And that photo is just hilarious. I love that.
Doing the bow tie.
Yeah.
Rocking the bow tie.
You know what?
Yeah.
Actually, the share part when we interview people is becoming the most fun part for me.
Yeah,
I just love it. I just love finding out these quirky little things about these awesome photographers.
I know.
And that's an awesome one.
That's crazy, yeah.
Wicked, man.
And then the amazing image from Milford Sound and feeling the landscape, that's awesome.
And I really believe, getting out that zoom lens, because often landscape photographers, we think wide, we think capturing everything, but man, getting out your telephoto and zooming in on a part of a landscape, you can really create some unique images, and I absolutely love doing it. I absolutely love doing that. It's
just
good
feeling
fun.
having the landscape talk to you.
Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, being out in nature.
You love that.
Yeah,
I do too. I mean, look at where we are now, guys. We're in nature. Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. Beautiful location. And I totally agree, mate. I have to feel it. It doesn't matter what's going on around me if I'm not feeling it inside and I'm not there to capture it. I'll just sit and watch it. And sometimes that's what happens.
And sometimes that's not bad, actually.
It's great.
Just sitting in nature, not even taking photos, just actually enjoying where you are and actually living in the moment.
That's it.
Like Josh and I were talking about. The happiness of actually enjoying the moment and not rushing towards the next thing.
Yeah, it's true. And you know what? We put pressure on ourselves too, particularly when you're learning. You see something, you go, I got to capture it. And then you're looking in the back of the camera. And you know what? Sometimes it can get stressful, And photography is not about that, man. It's about out there, having fun, feeling it. And if you want to take a shot, you do. If you don't, you don't. Yeah, awesome, man.
Yeah, good. Cool. And Josh, thanks so much for that tip at the end.
Yeah, awesome little Photoshop tip, man. And it's such an easy thing to do, guys. If you're a Photoshop user, man, have a go at that tip. I'm a big Lightroom fan, but I still love Photoshop. There's certain things you still need Photoshop for, and that's an awesome little tip.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. And cool, hey, guys, if you want to know more about Josh, just click on the show notes below here or above or somewhere. He's got a
left to right.
He's got something special there for you. We'll put a link.
Be in the show notes, man. Check it out. He's an awesome guy. You should follow his work, and he's fun to. Man, his YouTube videos are fun, eh?
I know.
It's so fun.
Yeah, thanks, Josh, for being on the show. And hey, guys, we'll catch you next week. See you later. Bye.
See you later. Take care. Bye.
To find out more, go to shareinspirecreate.com.